Hey everybody, I am Natalie Wellborn,
I'm Kevin Wellborn.
and we just wanted to share with you our why and how we got started with LuLaRoe. Um, we got started back in March of 2016, so it's almost been a year ago
What?
this year, or this month. Um, So my two neighbors invited me to a LuLaRoe pop-up in our neighborhood. I had no idea what LuLaRoe was, and I had just had twin boys. They were 7 weeks old, and my neighbors were trying to get me out of the house. I said no way, and they literally drug me to the pop-up, and it all started from there. So I went to the pop up and tried on all sorts of things because I've never heard of LuLaRoe before. So I ended up buying one Nicole dress and one pair of leggings. And from there, it was the end of the road. I came home.
Asked for $6,000 to start selling it, and I told her no.
Yep.
Pretty much how it went.
And here we are.
Yeah. A couple weeks later, after doing some research, we signed up. So
Yep.
that's how we got started at it. And it's allowed us to, for me, actually, it's allowed me to stay at home with the kids, which has been nice because we have 3 kids who are in daycare now. And our oldest is not in school yet. So that was going to be an expensive bill for 3 kids in daycare. So it's allowed me to stay at home and put one of our kids in a part-time daycare still while I'm being able to sell this at the house while she works full-time. So it's helped us out tremendously.
So we do have 3 kids, a 5-year-old who's not yet in kindergarten, and then twin boys who are 15 months old. So this opportunity did allow, like Kevin just said, allowed him to quit his job to stay home full time and support the kiddos and also assist with the LuLaRoe business. We help each other out, do this half and half, and I do work full time in the clinical research world. So I do have a full time position outside of LuLaRoe as well.
Selling women's clothing was definitely not something I had planned on doing. It was just after we started, the money started coming in, and I realized how much we could make at it. And then I just, we were sitting here anyway, and the clothes were in the room, so it was like, why not just start selling it, throughout the day? So I kind of took over and started selling it throughout the day during the week while she's working, and it just snowballed from there. And it's done really well for us since we started it. So.
And Kevin is our numbers guy, so he'll go over numbers in just a little bit. We'll share our success with you guys if you're interested in those numbers. But starting this business has been a true success for us. It's been more than we've ever imagined it would be and more. It has allowed us to pay off several bills that we've had just kind of sitting on the back burner. All of our kiddos were NICU babies, and they were all IVF babies as well. So we have been fortunate enough to be able to pay off several IVF treatments as well as several NICU bills that we have had over the years.
That would not have been paid off this soon otherwise.
No, we would have been on payment plans, which we were.
Forever.
For a long time, and because of LuLaRoe, we've been able to pay off several of those bills. We have been able to go on some family vacations that we would not have been able to go on without LuLaRoe.
Those of you that have 3 kids, young kids, know how expensive and time consuming that can be too. So, and it's allowed us to be able to do that, which is great.
What else have we been able to do? We were fortunate enough because of our sales, which again, we'll get into those numbers, but because of our sales in 2016, we were fortunate enough to just be able to go on the LuLaRoe cruise.
Yep.
If you meet certain sales quotas throughout the year, LuLaRoe has an incentive cruise that they send certain consultants on. And we just got back from that cruise, which was an absolute amazing experience and opportunity. So, if it wasn't for LuLaRoe, we would not have had a 7 day,
Yeah.
all paid for cruise to the Caribbean. So, that was another absolute amazing experience and opportunity.
All right, so that's probably enough about us. I mean, it's allowed us to do a lot. We took a few weeks off in November and December, that we didn't have to worry about working. Natalie still had to work from home, but she didn't. She was just working a few days here or there, and it's allowed us to upgrade our RV. We went and upgraded our RV. So it's allowed us to do a lot of things that we certainly didn't have planned to do anytime soon. Um, but for those of you that are interested in selling or thinking about selling, you have questions you want answers to. Trust me, I'm the same way. When she told me she wanted $5,000 or $6,000 to sell it, I was like, "There's not a way that that's happening. It's just there's no way."
His first response was absolutely
Yeah,
not.
it included 4-letter
100%
word, I'm
no.
sure, and it was just like there's just not happening. And then I'm that way. I have to have visual. I need numbers. So I did some research, talked to some other consultants that were selling it, seen what they were making, and I just felt that I felt I could do better. So and that's kind of where it started. We started it, and we originally it was just on the weekends. Like I said, Natalie was doing it. On the weekend, she would go do pop-ups at other people's houses and this kind of stuff, and it was a lot of lugging the clothing around every weekend. And then, of course, we had the kids, so I was watching the kids while she was doing that, and I mean that worked well for us for the first few months, but then that became a little too much, so we shifted to online sales, and that's really, that's how we ran our business is we shifted to online sales because it just worked better for our family, and and it's been successful for us.
And
So
everybody runs things
everybody does their
differently.
own way. Some people do 50-50 in-home and multi-sales online. Some strictly do in-home. Some other people do it like we do. It's whatever works for your family. So it's your business. You can run it the way you want.
Exactly.
That's that. We just felt like we tried it in the beginning with the in-homes, and it was with her being working and then being gone on the weekends, and it wasn't working for us the way we wanted it to. And now, we kind of leave the weekends off for ourselves, and I'll do this during the week. In the evenings, we'll do multi sales, and then she works, and then we have the weekends to do what we want. So it's worked out for us. But for those of you that are interested in selling and you have questions, you guys can join our Facebook page. You can PM Natalie, and I'm on there a lot of the time, especially if it's during the day. You'll get a response back from me. So just be aware of that. But if you have any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer, any questions you have whatsoever regarding dollars, how it works, whatever. I'm going to give you some numbers of for the company itself, how it's doing. I'll give you some numbers on how we did for the past year. And then, like I said, you guys that are interested, you're more than welcome to contact us. If you are thinking about it and you're watching these videos, you probably are thinking about it. Pick your sponsor wisely because they're the person that you go to for help. So be sure that you pick somebody that's going to help you be successful. And the odds are, if they're not being successful, it's going to be hard for them to help you be successful. So pick your sponsor carefully. That's the best advice I can give you, whether it be us or someone else. So let me give you a few numbers. We'll start with some numbers for the company that I just found out when we were on this cruise last week, which if you follow our Facebook page, you'll see some pictures from that cruise. Right now there's 72,000 consultants for LuLaRoe. That changes daily. The top 2.1% was on the cruise in February that we were just on. So out of 72,000, there's only 2.1% that cruise qualified, and we actually cruise qualified the first 7 months we were selling LuLaRoe. We cruise qualified every single month.
Pretty impressive.
So we're pretty proud of that too, especially finding out that we were in the top 2.1%. So here's some numbers. In 2013, they were about a $3 million company. 2014, they're about a $9.6 million. 2015, 73 million. So you can see gradual jumps. 2016, last year, $1.3 billion. And they're projected to grow to 2.6 billion in 2017. So they're going to double in 1 year is their projected growth that they're on right now, if everything stays on track. So with those numbers being said, you can see how fast the LuLaRoe is growing, the company, the popularity of the clothes. I'll give you a little bit more information that I thought was kind of cool. 70% of the merchandise that LuLaRoe ships goes east of the Mississippi. I thought that was kind of interesting. Right now, there's 13,000 consultants in the queue waiting to sign up. It takes about 2 months to get signed up. It's 6 to 8 weeks on average. That's what it was when we signed up, and that was a year ago, and it's still the same. They're onboarding 400 people a day. They're onboarding people as fast as they can.
So with what Kevin just said, it takes 6 to 8 weeks to sign up. So you fill out a link to sign up, and then you do not actually have to pay for your initial order until the end of that period. So you'll get a phone call at the end of that 6 to 8 week waiting period, and that's when you actually make that initial investment into LuLaRoe and into your initial order. So that's something really important to keep in mind.
Yeah, which is the inventory you're purchasing. So to give you, and those of you that haven't researched it a lot, what you're doing with that $5,000 or $6,000, there's different packages that you would get to choose from. But what you're doing is you're buying all of that merchandise. So when you send them that money, you pick out the package you want, that you're buying that wholesale merchandise. You own that merchandise at that point in time. From then, you have to resell the merchandise to get your money back. So you can do your in-homes, your onlines. There's a policy and procedure guidelines you have to follow, certain, where you can post and what you can't post. So you have to follow those guidelines. But as long as you do that, you're your own boss. So you're buying the merchandise and then you're selling what you have on hand. You're not ordering from catalogs or anything like that. When you buy it, you get it, and that's what you have. You don't when you place an order to re-up your inventory after you've made some sales, you don't get to choose your you don't get to choose your patterns or your colors or any of that kind of stuff. You would choose what size shirts and what style shirts that you want, and then they would send you. It's all random. None of the consultants get to choose, which is kind of the fun of it sometimes, especially when you're opening a box and you never know what's going to be in there.
It's like Christmas.
Yeah, every time we get a package. So one thing I will tell you, if you're interested in signing up or thinking about it, is I know it's a lot of money. Some people put it on credit cards. Some people will get a loan. Some people use their tax money, which is what we did last year. But it is a lot of money. I was worried about it at first, but we made our money back in the first month very easily, actually. Without really even trying. When we cruise qualified the first couple months, we didn't even know anything about a cruise. So we were just selling that much by accident. Not even trying to cruise qualify. Of course, when we found out about it a few months later, we kept going because we wanted to do it. But the one thing I will tell you is that if for some reason you're doing it part-time or full-time, and something were to came up and you couldn't sell LuLaRoe no more, or you wanted to just get out of it, you were done with it, you didn't want to have 2 jobs or whatever, they will buy back your inventory minus a 15% restocking fee. So the worst case scenario, if you spend $6,000 and you hold on to it for a month and you don't sell one thing, you could always send it back and get your full refund minus the 15% restocking fee. So it's really a win-win. You take a gamble to get started with a lump sum, but if for some reason something were to happen, you can always sell it back. So you're not going to be out your money. You're going to lose 15% of it, but that's what you got to do to get started.
So there is comfort knowing that there's pretty minimal risk that if you put all that money up, that if you decide that you want to get out, you have that option.
Correct. And I didn't know about that when we started. So that I found that out after the fact. So there's other avenues, but just so you guys know, that's always an option to sell it back to them at the end. Let me give you some numbers on us. We signed up in February, right? we got our initial inventory around the middle to towards the end of March. We in March, I'm gonna give you our numbers for the year. Like I said, I'm full transparent. So if you guys want to contact us, I'll give you whatever information you want. And if I don't have it, I'll find it for you. But here's some information on us. In March, we sold little over $2,500. Okay, that was only for about a week. Our first full month was April of last year. We sold over $14,000 our first full month. In May, we sold $15,373. In June, we sold over $19,600 in June. July, over $14,400. August, $13,800. September, $13,400. October, over $16,000 in October. And then in November, we were at 10,000, and December we were a little over 6,500, and that's because we didn't sell in November, December. I didn't order a lot of inventory. We took 10 days vacation in November around the holidays. That's when we upgraded our camper when we were on a trip, which was supposed to be 3 days, and then after that 3 days we were like, let's just stay longer. So then we went to Virginia from where we were at and stayed another 7 days. So we were gone for 10 days. In the middle of that 10 days, we upgraded our camper while we were gone. All not planned and unexpected.
And that was because of LuLaRoe.
Yeah.
If LuLaRoe was not in our life, we would not have been able to do that.
Yeah.
It would have just been our 3-day vacation, and we would have been back home.
And our little old camper that we had, which was too small for 3 kids. So, which is the reason we had to upgrade. So that can tell you basically where we're at. And then in January of this year, I don't have, this is my tax information from this past year. That's where I'm reading the numbers from that LuLaRoe sent me. But from January this year, I don't have it in front of me, but it was close to $10,000 or $12,000. It was north of $10,000. And like I said, we weren't selling a lot in January just because we knew we had this cruise coming in February and we were going to be gone. So I wasn't ordering a lot of inventory just to have it sitting around because I knew we weren't going to be selling a lot in February. So anyway, that gives you some idea of how we've done. And like I said, none of this was planned. So if you were to add all that up, let me just go back to this. If you were to add all that up for the year of 2016, and we only started in the middle of March, we sold over $130,000 in LuLaRoe clothing out of our warehouse, which is in our garage at our house. So, that's $130,000 is a ridiculous amount of clothing to be pushing out, and you don't realize it until you get the statement at the end. But I mean, it's a lot of clothing. It is a lot of work. Just so you guys know, I mean, it's a lot of work, whether you do in-homes. Like I said, you have to load the merchandise, bring it back, set it back up. If you do online, you got to take pictures, and it's a lot of advertising for the sales. So don't think shipping, invoicing. So don't think, you're just going to sit back and collect the money, because you can, but you're going to have to work too. So the harder you work, the more you're going to make. Right now we do, just so you have an idea, we have an online sale every Sunday on our VIP page, and then we do about 4 other multis a month. So we're in about a week. I'm sorry. So we're in about 20. I'd say we're in about 20 multis in a month, plus hours. So we're in about 20 to 24 sales a month. So you can see that on at least 5 or 6 days, which is usually the weekends. Like I said, Saturday and Sundays is what we try to not schedule anything for.
And if you guys don't know what multis are, a multi-consultant sale is a sale online where multiple other LuLaRoe consultants get together and sell their merchandise together. So it's just a sale online with a bunch of other LuLaRoe consultants.
Correct. So and that's how we, like I said, when we kind of got out of the in-homes and all that kind of stuff, that's kind of where we kind of leaned to, was the multis, just because it was easier. I mean, the multis are during the week. On the weeknight, after we put the kids down, we have an automatic system called Shop the Road. We can set up a time, and they'll load the pictures for us, and then usually the pictures will load while we're messing with the kids, feeding them, putting them down to bed, and then after they're in bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock, we can go back and start answering questions, invoicing people, pulling merchandise, and we do that for a few hours, and then it starts all over again the next day, and that's what we do.
So the point of that, though, is the great thing about LuLaRoe is you can tailor it and you can make it work for you and your family and your business. So you can make your business your own, whether that's online sales, whether that's in-home sales, or a combination thereof. So like in the beginning, we did a combination thereof, and a different combination of online and in-homes. And then we slowly moved to just onlines because that's what worked for us and our family, especially with me working full time. So that is the great thing about LuLaRoe is you can tailor it and you can make it work for you and your business.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. I mean, you can tell by the numbers I read off. Like I said, the first 3 months or so, we did in homes and some online sales, and then when about the middle of the summer, we went over to strictly multis, and you can see our numbers didn't. I mean, they didn't change. They stayed the same. So we were selling the same amount. It just was easier for us to do it that way instead of having to pack up the merchandise and bring it back and unpack it. And so you could do both if you wanted to do this full time and you don't have kids and you want to do multis during the week and then do in homes and stuff on the weekends. I mean, you can certainly do that. It's you can make as much money as you want. It's just how much time do you want to put towards it. So one thing to keep in mind. But so that's where we're at. Anything else?
nope. And like Kevin said, we are a open book. If you guys have questions about anything, anything at all, please ask us. We will put our information below so you guys can join our shop page, message us on Facebook, etc. So please do ask us any questions that you guys have. We will definitely answer any questions that you guys have about the business, about LuLaRoe itself, about joining, anything at all. So please feel free to ask.
Absolutely, and just to interrupt, if you guys start sending in questions, maybe in a month or so we'll do a Q&A and answer some questions that everybody had. We'll certainly respond to your questions if you send them to us, but we'll put them all together and do like a Q&A video with some questions that you guys had, the answers, and then maybe some other questions and answers that I can come up with that I had when she was interested in starting in the beginning.
Yeah, I think we can probably do a live Q&A video at some point, which might be kind of fun. And I mean, just to end, LuLaRoe has definitely changed things for us in more ways than we ever thought would be possible. I mean, I know a year ago when I came to Kevin and said, let's sell clothes. We never thought that this is where we would be, sitting in our garage with a room full of clothes, selling women's clothes and doing this well.
Yeah, well, I was like I said, I was not willing to give up the money when I knew, the three kids, when she went back to work, something had to be done with the three kids. That was going to be expensive. And, so we were doing this just to make some extra money to make ends meet. And then now I do it full time and I get to stay home with the kids, and it's given us more than we could ask for. So if you guys are interested, like I said, let us know, contact us, and we'll answer whatever questions you have. You do have to sign up under somebody. That is the way LuLaRoe works. You have to sign up under a sponsor, a consultant that's already selling. So let me revert back to what I said earlier. Pick and choose your sponsor wisely, because there is no 1-800 number you can call to get answers from. You have to contact people that are on your team, meaning your sponsor, the person above your sponsor, and other team members on your team. So that the person that you pick is going to be one of the most important decisions you make when you start selling LuLaRoe. So just keep that in mind.
And not only your sponsor, but the team that they're on. So your sponsor and their upline is really important. So if you don't have a great sponsor and the team that they're on, you need to look into that, because that team is there to support you. And it's very important to have a supportive team to make sure that you're supported, your questions are supported, in order to get you far in your business. So.
All right. Well, that being said, comment or click the link below that we'll have posted for any questions or concerns. All right.
Bye, guys. Natalie Wellborn and
Kevin Wellborn.
Kevin Wellborn, aka Lula Kevin, on
That's
our
right.
shop page.
If you buy an outfit off our page, it was me. Just remember that.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye, guys.